Call halal Yahal Bashim Yahushai Bashim Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS. Shalom and blessings to the hopeful elect. Just wanted to get into this topic of publishing this word, this gospel, to the four corners of the earth in the form of these videos that are put up on the internet and going out to the highways and hedges, to the cheap place of concourse, where pretty much the head commerce, place of commerce and fucking traffic, where in this point where we're in, whether it be foot or pedestrian or vehicle traffic, to push this gospel, man. I'm going to get some precepts that go into this word publish, as it pertains to the people. All right, spreading this word. This is Mark 13:10, and the gospel must first be published among all nations. All right, the gospel is another word for the good news, but in this instance, we're speaking of is this truth, is all the things that the brothers, that the men of Yahal Bashim Yahushai, primarily Great Millstone, bring out on a daily basis. And then as a camp, as a whole, we go out on Saturdays, man. And other days brothers can get together to go out onto the streets, man, to the public where people are. See, it says among all nations, and that's why we don't just go to the hood where Jake is at, to the barrios and fucking ghetto and shit. All right, we go to where Jake goes, because Jake don't fucking really stay in the hood like that, especially on Saturday. Jake goes to that cheap place of concourse, the primary place of commerce. Why? To go shop, to go to these fucking stadiums, for sporting events, to go to concerts, to go to the beach. And this is in reference to over here in SoCal. And hey, but that's really across this country, man, and across the world. Jake kind of frequents the same places, of fucking for their folly and entertainment. And that's where we go, is to push this word. All right. So, and that's a cut and, pretty much proof to you scoffers that tell us to go to the hood. All right. To all nations. And it's also among all nations. It's not just to Jake any fucking way. Let alone because Jake isn't in the hood, man. In those times. In the time we bring out the word, man. Jake leaves the hood. Jake only lives in the hood because that's all he can afford. This is in Matthew 24:14, and this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then the end shall come. All right, so this word is to be preached out to all nations. One of the main reasons is because there are Israelites that think they belong to other nations, and that we could think and you fucking people in the world may think belongs to a certain nation, but they're really an Israelite. So that's another reason why this word has to be pushed out, made public in this certain avenue, in this certain platform, man. It's got to be on the cheap place of concourse to be made public. Pretty much the most prime place you can go, where the most people can hear about it, man, regardless of their nation, because they could be Jake any fucking way. Confusion of face. All right. And then the end shall come. It says, Luke 14:23, and the Lord said unto the servant, go out into the highways and hedges and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. All right. The highways and the hedges is pretty much, well, let me get it. The highways and hedges is where the main commerce is at. Properly a traveled way, road, traveler's way, course of conduct, okay? A mode or means of journey. So it's pretty much, because going in the ancient days, there's only a few roads that had marketplace set up at, and it was usually one where the travelers were able to get to in their journey. You know, it was generally, the marketplaces were set up in areas where a lot of roads ran into it, man, and ran through it. And just as the highways and hedges are where we go out to preach his gospel, man. A lot of it in all these different places where brothers are at. We're in the city, right? We are mostly in the downtown areas of the cities. And what? There's a shitload of vehicle traffic and foot traffic, man. And it's where, like it said, a traveler's way, a traveler's road, man. Pretty much a shitload of traffic. See? That's the highways and hedges. Go out into the highways and hedges and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. And that's the fishing, being the fishers of men. That to us, preaching this gospel is ultimately just to seal up the elect and to seal the others for their destruction, their fate. But just like it tells you to go into the highways, man. It says it here, Proverbs 1:20. Wisdom cries without, she uttered her voice in the streets. She cried in the chief place of concourse, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttered her words, saying, I'll just get that. How long, you simple ones, will you love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. So, telling you right now that wisdom is actually out there on the streets. And it's not only on the physical streets, the chief place of concourse in these downtown areas of these major cities. These, you know, that also goes into the internet. The internet is known as a highway as well. The World Wide Web. You know, they talk about, they use the terminology like to drive traffic to a website. You know, they talk about internet traffic. You know, it goes into your different channels and roads, right? To navigate through the internet. Different websites, which are like locations, which is straight up the chief place of concourse, man, in digital form. Just as we go out on the streets in physical form on Saturdays and other days brothers can get together, we are on the digital streets, highways and hedges, cheap place of concourse on the internet, and even more chief, more head, even topping that, to be the top of, to show you, to display how we're at the fucking top of the internet is what? YouTube being one of the main fucking ways of like social media, if you will, right? User loaded content, and that's how it's doing the heavy lifting of spreading this word across to the four winds of the earth, as it just spoke of in Luke 14 and 23, man. Salakia in Matthew. See? And going back into the 21st verse, the chief place of concourse and in the openings of the gates, that's in the downtown areas, man. That's in the place where, like I mentioned, the marketplace, so it gathered the most crowds, traffic of people, just as YouTube is on the internet. So the top fucking social media for video content on the web. All right, and we make it public. We're to publish it. We publish it, we make it public. That's what that goes into. 1 Corinthians 4 and 9, for I think that the Most High has set forth us the apostles last, as it were, appointed to death. For we are made a spectacle unto the world, and to angels, and to men. So we are being made a spectacle on these internet channels, online, on these videos where we record ourselves, right, and upload them to the Agora, which is that digital marketplace of the internet, and then subsequently a spectacle on the streets, all right, in the public where people are. When you go into that word publish, it goes into to make it publicly known, to divulge, to announce, to spread it abroad, and to make it public. All right? This word public goes into of or concerning people as a whole, done, perceived, or existing in open view. Okay? So we publish this gospel, this word, to the four corners of the earth through the internet, and in our areas where we're physically seen on the highways and hedges, on the streets, man, and doing it collectively as a body, an open view, man. All right? That's why when you look at the apostles going into, you can make your videos public and private in on the app. All right? And indeed, we make our videos public and publish them to the entire world, man, to declare the works of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, the prophecies, the glory of our Heavenly Father, ultimately to compel you to do the only thing that you're supposed to be doing, your only duty, regardless of your nationality, man, is to serve the Creator. Alright, so with that, all praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bashim Kadash. Shalom.